What's up, everyone? DefyNewYork.com here with a brand new video. Last time we just looked at Nas Illmatic. This time we're going to look at Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style from 1993, which is 21 years this year. So we'll start off with the album artwork, which was drawn by Snoop Dogg's cousin, Joe Cool. I mean, it's super iconic. Just the drawing is just crazy. Now I'll let you guys read up a little bit on the history behind it. It's a great story how he had his girlfriend pose on a couch to come up with this drawing. But it's just, the artwork is just so phenomenal, so iconic. It's so eye-catching. And I remember when I was young and I went to go get this album, and well, we all heard Snoop first on Deep Cover, and then Dr. Dre's The Chronic, and then you know, then he had this album right here. The first time I saw his video was on Video Music Box, which, if you guys saw the last video, you know that that's really the way I got to see videos for the most part. If it wasn't at a friend's house or a cousin or you know, out in Florida at a family, other than that, most of the time I was watching Video Music Box. And so I remember I got to see What's My Name, and I just knew you know, Snoop was gonna be something special even at a young age. And when his album dropped, I knew I had to have it. You had Gin and Juice, Lottie Dottie. I mean, pretty much every song on the album is solid. You can listen to this album from beginning to end and it will entertain you. Murder Was a Case, Doggy Dog World, Ain't No Fun. You know, now there's a difference. There's two versions of this album that came out back in the day. One had G's Up, Hoes Down. The other one did not have that. I don't know if you guys can see that. But the reason for that was, from what I understand, they didn't get the clearance for the sample on G's Up, Hoes Down. And I remember they had actually performed that song on Saturday Night Live. I think Helen Hunt was the guest, and it was just so sick. He was actually performing the song on Saturday Night Live in a crazy Tommy Hilfiger rugby, which I have a variation of it. I had an opportunity to get the original one, which I'm still looking for, but I have a variation of it. I'm going to show you guys that before this video's over. But yeah, it's just sick. Everything. Snoop was on point. Death Row Records was so, you know, such a force in the early 90s. It was just really crazy. I mean, look at this, the artwork, the music, the presentation, the music videos, and it was all like original. Nobody was doing this stuff at the time. They weren't trying to sound like anyone else. They were creating their own lane. And I feel like it's lacking in a lot of artists today. The only person, I mean, not the only person, but one of the people that I respect most, I know a lot of people will say he's soft and he's this and he's that, but Drake definitely experiments. He has different sounds. He doesn't sound the same, you know. All his songs don't sound the same. You know, he can spit on all types of tracks and make it come across really good. And you know, that's what I can appreciate about Drake. You know, you got a lot of artists today, really, you know, they hear one sound and like, oh, let's replicate that 50,000 times over because maybe we'll get a paycheck out of it. You know, let's not create our own sound or, you know, experiment with different sounds. Let's just make the same track over and over again. So you'll find a lot of variation in this album. And once again, if you don't own a physical copy, you should try to own a physical copy of these songs. I recommend it. Record, cassette, CD, it doesn't matter. I know cassettes are seeing a resurgence in popularity. you know, CDs are a little slept on, but CD, from what I understand, is the best quality sound, hands down, and that's a fact. That's not like, oh, somebody just said it. It's the truest. Put it this way, it's not the best quality to the ear. Maybe some people enjoy the sound of a record more than they enjoy a CD, but it's got the truest to the original recording, is what I should say. And you should try to pick up the earliest copy as possible. I don't know how the digitally remastered versions sound because I never owned them. But these are the earlier copies, and they sound pretty decent. Also, if you prefer the sound of radio, you can actually Google on how to download these songs and adjust the sound so that it'll actually sound like the radio. I actually prefer some of the songs when they're played on the radio as opposed to when they're on the CD. So you can actually Google that as well. But anyway, back to this. Solid album. The artwork, crazy. Even inside the, you know, inside the album, it's sick. But I'm not going to show you that. Just pick up the album. The next part of the video, I'm going to show you the Tommy Hilfiger shirt, that rugby that I have, that's similar to what Snoop Doggy Dogg wore on Saturday Night Live. Alright guys, here's a little bonus for this video. Back in, I want to say it was like 1993, maybe the beginning of 94. I think it was late 93. Snoop Doggy Dogg was on SNL, and the host was Helen Hunt, and he was performing G's Up, Hose Down, which like I said earlier, was eventually taken off the original recording. The later versions, later 93, they were missing that track because they didn't get clearance for the instrumental. But this is a similar shirt to what he was wearing from that appearance. The original one, well, the one, not to say the original, because this is an original, this is old. The one he had the script here. It said, I think it said Tommy. I'm not 100% sure. I have it on my website, defynewyork.com. You can check it out. This one has Tommy on the bottom, and it comes around here. And it's just a sick shirt. It's a sick rugby. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. So anyhow, I wore this particular this particular rugby. I went to an event for I think it was the W Hotels. It was part of 60 Smart, where they were doing graffiti, and I tagged up, you know, Defy New York on the walls. They allowed it. You know, they were gonna do some kind of construction on the top floor, and this actually on one of the I caught the lead-off picture for the article on Complex, which was pretty funny. And you'll see the back of my head with me, you know, tagging it up in this shirt. So, one of my favorite shirts I own. I don't really wear it too much. I decided to wear it to the event, but it's definitely a classic. And Tommy Hilfiger has a lot of good stuff, a lot of good vintage style. So, just figured I'd share this with you guys. Let me see if I can show you what it looks like. Well, so there you go. You got to see my vintage Tommy Hilfiger rugby. We got to talk a little bit about Snoop Doggy Dogg's Doggy Style. And please let me know what your memories are of Doggy Style. Classic album. Also, if anybody knows where the original one is, let me know. It was also Grand Puba wore the same. Actually, I think he was the first one to wear it before Snoop. He wore it, and what was the name of that song? Watch the Sound. I think it was a video for Fat Joe's Watch the Sound. Grand Puba was wearing the same rugby, and it's just sick rugby. And it's basically the same as this, only instead of Tommy on the bottom, it just said it in script up here, and this was blank. So anyhow, guys, that's the video. Feel free to drop me a line, and as always, stay tuned for more videos.